praising the efforts of two Vietnam veterans whose brave actions this weekend saved many lives in Times Square. Today, Dwayne Jackson and Lance Orton are once again heroes and true examples of the remarkable character of the men and women who wear the uniform of our country. I have the honor of representing Mr. Jackson in Congress, and I'm sure that I join everyone here today in extending our thanks to him and Mr. Orton for choosing action over inaction, and that's what our soldiers and veterans have been trained to do, and their quick thinking as well. The subject before us today is vitally important. The war in Vietnam may have ended 35 years ago, but Vietnam veterans have not stopped suffering at that point. They continue to this day, and the fact that we need to have this hearing speaks to the inaction, the decades of inaction, dishonesty, and willful ignorance regarding the devastating impacts of both Agent Orange and PTSD. It's clear that we need more research on the long-term health effects that were suffered by Vietnam veterans. I commend the work of the Institute of Medicine, especially the recommendations last year that found 3 new diseases that are associated with Agent Orange. This will help thousands of sick veterans access the health care benefits that they deserve. Unfortunately, I also find these reports to be limited because they only consider existing research. VA bills itself as a world-class health research institution. Why is VA not directing more of its resources or sponsoring independent research to study the full impact of a health crisis the U.S. Armed Forces created for its own service members, our fellow citizens? In 1991, Congress established guidelines for the VA to determine scientifically if a particular illness or disorder is associated with Agent Orange. In a claim system that is supposed to be non-adversarial, Congress tilted the standard of proof even further in favor of veterans. However, Congress was not able to slay the one enemy that still plagues our vets, and that is inertia. By not mandating new research focused on the health impacts of Agent Orange, Congress gave the VA the means to stall benefits for thousands of veterans. I think it is time for Congress to revisit that decision, and also to acknowledge, and for the VA to acknowledge, that Agent Orange exposure goes far beyond those who set foot on Vietnamese soil, which is why I support the Chairman's Blue Water Bill, H.R. 2254, an important step in the right direction. Veterans who serve in Guam, Thailand, and even air bases in the U.S. May have been exposed to toxic herbicides. Establishing their exposure might be difficult, but we owe it to them to raise this issue. I strongly support restarting the National Vietnam Veterans Longitudinal Study 8 years after Congress mandated it. I am interested in learning the VA's response to the GAO findings, and this weekend I was reminded of the hurdles still facing veterans with PTSD. There was an AP story that took a tiny sample of fraud cases and blew them out of proportion, in my opinion, to imply that it's too easy for veterans to obtain their benefits for PTSD. I suspect that many in this room would find that laughable. And of course, the opposite is true. Just this week, I sat down in my district and spoke with a Vietnam veteran, sat at his kitchen table and talked about his case, which dragged on for years until my office got involved, at which point we were quickly able to get him 100% disability rating for PTSD from his service in Vietnam 4 decades ago. Well, I'm proud to help him. Mr. Berkowitz had earned those benefits, and it's unacceptable that he had to wait so long, and also that he had to come to his congressman to get that help. The VA should automatically have a system for granting reasonable claims without having to have a congressional office get involved, because that just, there's not enough of us to do that work. We're not the people that are going to solve it. Congressmen are not going to solve the claims backlog personally by taking on every one of these hundreds of thousands of cases. It has to be done by the VA. So the topics covered here are extremely important,